Welcome to the lecture in Plant Ecology and Phytogeography. The title of the unit is Ecosystems and the module name is Aquatic Ecosystem, under which we are going to study marine ecosystems. You will be introduced to the marine ecosystems. We will discuss about the physical and chemical aspects of the marine environment and the biotic communities which are found in the marine ecosystems. At the end of this lecture, you will be able to understand the importance of the marine ecosystems. You will be able to state the physical and chemical aspects of the marine waters and understand the presence of the organisms which are present in each zone of the marine ecosystems. Marine ecology focuses the overall pattern of the relationship between the organisms and the sea environment. Okay, so the study of the physical, chemical, geological and biological aspect of the sea is called as oceanography. Now you will know that the marine ecosystem is sparsely spread out all over the world and it includes almost 70.8% of the Earth's surface. And you know that all the oceans are connected to each other, and the abiotic characteristics of the marine waters are directly linked to the presence of certain organisms in these areas. So the temperature, salinity and depth are the chief barriers to free movement of the marine organisms. And the sea is dominated by the waves of many kinds and tides which are produced by the pull of the moon and the sun. The different types of marine ecosystem is the open sea, the deep sea, the estuaries where the river meets the sea, and the sandy beaches. Let's discuss about the physical and chemical aspects of marine environment. We know that the sea is in continuous circulation due to the wind stress which is set up by the air temperature differences between the poles and the equatorial region. The dissolved nutrients are in low concentration and it is an important limiting factor for determining the size of the marine populations. Let's discuss about the first abiotic characteristics, that is the light. It is a significant factor which helps in the regulation and the distribution of marine animals, and it contributes to the organic production. The amount of light which is exploited in photosynthesis actually depends upon the intensity of the light which falls on the water as well as the turbidity of the water. Secondly, the temperature and pressure. The Arctic waters are much colder than the tropical waters. The seasonal and daily temperature are larger in the coastal temperature than in the open sea. And the pressure in the marine waters varies from 1 atmosphere at the surface to 1000 atmosphere at the depth. So as you go beneath the sea, the pressure goes on increasing. So the pressure affects the distribution of life. The third thing is the zonation of the sea. As you can see in this picture, the marine waters or marine ecosystem is entirely coming under the pelagic zone. Now this pelagic zone is divided into two, that is the neritic zone and the oceanic zone. The neritic zone is towards the coastal areas, okay, and the oceanic zone which includes the open sea and the deep sea. Now, as you can see in the picture, the oceanic zone which is there is vertically divided into 4 zones. First is the epipelagic zone wherein the light received is the most. Then you have the mesopelagic zone, bathypelagic zone, and at the end, at the depth, you will find the abyssal pelagic zone. Now, when you see the depth of the sea, okay, it is called as the benthic region. Again, this benthic region has 4 different zones, starting with the littoral zone, sublittoral zone, bathyal zone and the abyssal zone. Now, there is one more zone beneath the abyssal zone, that is called as the hadal zone, wherein you will not find any life forms there because there is no penetration of light. It is dark beneath. So, the continental shelf extends for a distance offshore, after which the bottom drops off very steeply. Okay, so the shallow water zone on the continental shelf is called as the neritic zone, which is near the shore. Okay, now the zone between the high and the low tides is also called as littoral zone or intertidal zone. The region of the open sea beyond the continental shelf is known as the oceanic region. Now the oceanic region, as I mentioned earlier, comprises of the bathyal zone, abyssal region, euphotic region and aphotic zone. This is a picture which shows the zonation in the sea. You have the bathyal zone followed by the euphotic zone, then the aphotic zone, and finally deep inside the ocean you will find the abyssal zone. Okay, so bathyal is the region of the continental slope and rise. Euphotic is the upper thin region of the ocean where the maximum light falls in, and then you have the aphotic zone wherein the upper thin region is where the maximum light falls. Okay, then you have the abyssal region, the area of the ocean deeps. The fourth abiotic characteristics is salinity, currents and tides. The sea is very salty. Approximately 35% of the salts is dissolved in the sea waters. The main salts are chlorides, sulfates, bicarbonates, carbonates, etc. The salinity changes from place to place. It is not the same in all the seas and oceans. So the waves, currents and tides are features of the sea water and they are controlled by the winds, cosmic forces and water densities. Now let's have a look at the biotic communities which live inside the marine ecosystems. So the organisms show great diversity in their form. Starting with the producers, we have the phytoplanktonic diatoms, dinoflagellates, green algae, brown algae and kelps. The large multicellular attached algae or seaweeds are important that form the extensive forest or kelp beds below the tide mark. The consumers. Now the zooplanktons are the consumers. These are various types which remain for the entire life cycle as planktons, and these are called as haloplanktons, which includes tiny jellyfish, protozoans, salps. Then you have the benthos. These are the organisms, they are sessile, relatively inactive animals in the inshore region. For example, crabs, beetles, barnacles, etc. Then we have the nekton and neuston, which are swimming animals, which includes the fishes, the turtles, whales, etc. Then you have bacterial organisms which are present in less amount, being mainly sediments. Then you have fungi and yeast, which are not very important in such habitat. Then you have sponges, annelids, which also are found in marine waters along with bacteria, algae, crustaceans and fishes. Then you have the seed plants, which are of little value in the sea except for the zostera, which is the eelgrass. Now, in the marine waters, in the marine ecosystems, you will find animals which are nearly invisible, having a shiny skin and a silvery body, and you have different zones and there you find different organisms. So in the pelagic zone, you will find the diatoms, dinoflagellates, and these get the maximum light. Then you have the abyssal benthic zone, which is deep inside the sea, wherein you will find dwellers on detritus and basically on benthos. The biotic communities in the continental shelf are rich and diverse. You find diatoms, seaweeds, and the communities which you find on the seashore are basically in the rocky shore and the sandy shore. In the rocky shore, you will have the zones present, wherein you have the spray zones, barnacle zone, zone of oysters. In the sandy region, sandy shores, you will find harsh, brackish water fauna, nematodes, etc. Now let's have a look at the biotic communities of the estuary. Now an estuary is a region where the river meets the sea, and you will find the amount of salts which is present in the sea gets mixed with the river waters. So it is a transitional zone which forms an ecotone and has unique features. And this community, the estuarine community, is a mixture of three components. First is the marine freshwater and brackish water. You find phytoplanktons, marshy vegetation, algae, epiphytic plants and halophytes, mangroves. Okay, so zooplanktons are also found in the estuarine community, which are very unique to these ecosystems. You have abundant and diverse biota in coral reefs. Okay, so you have sargassum, caulerpa, alba, glacialia, sponges, coelenterates, pigmented fishes which live in the coral reef ecosystems. The inhabitants of the coral reef community, when they are exposed to low tides, they are subjected to predation by birds. Summary: in this lecture, we have seen what are marine ecosystem and the types of marine ecosystems. We have seen the abiotic characteristics affecting the marine ecosystems and the biotic communities which live in these marine ecosystems. These are references for further reading. Thank you.